Good evening, and thank you all for joining us for tonight's meeting to discuss zoning changes for Withers Elementary. My name is Priscilla Rice, and now I'm going to give instructions in Spanish and how to access Spanish language interpretation. Buenas tardes y gracias por participar en esta reunión para discutir cambios de uso de suelo para la escuela Withers Elementary. Si desea escuchar esta presentación en español, puede seleccionar la opción en español en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla. Si por algún motivo no escucha al intérprete, regresa al inglés y vuelva a intentar la opción en español. Si aún no funciona, favor de avisarnos por el chat. Desafortunadamente, la opción de interpretación no es compatible con las computadoras Chromebook. Le recomendamos que intente entrar a la reunión utilizando un teléfono celular como iPhone o Android, una computadora PC, iPad o tablet para escuchar la reunión en español. Thank you again for joining us tonight, where we will answer questions following the presentation. If you have a question, please raise your hand using the icon at the bottom of your screen. We will call your name, so you can unmute at that point. And if you prefer, you can also write your questions in the chat. We'll read them out and we'll get you an answer as soon as possible. At this time, I would like to introduce Principal Wendy Miller. Principal Miller, would you like to share a few words?
Yes, I would just like to welcome everyone to this meeting. It's a partnership and we are ready to get our zoning underway, and we're ready for this to begin.
Thank you so much, Principal Miller. I would also like to introduce Chief Brent Alfred. Chief, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you. It's good to be back in front of the Withers community. Again, I'm Brent Alfred. I'm Chief of Construction with Dallas ISD. It's been quite a journey, and this is just one more milestone to us starting construction. So with that, I'll turn it back over to our host. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief. Also, we want to welcome our trustee, Edwin Flores. Trustee Flores, would you like to say some words?
Sure, absolutely. And I want to thank everybody for joining us for this meeting. I finally discovered that my iPad has the, kept on looking at it, it looks sideways. And now I realize the little, where the little camera is. So thank you all for joining us. Very excited about the opportunity for the addition at Withers. I want to thank the taxpayers for paying for it, and then of course the voters for voting in favor of the 2020 bond that is making this project possible. So just very excited to be here. Buenas noches, mi nombre es Edwin Flores y los represento en la mesa directiva del Distrito Independiente Escolar de Dallas. Les quiero dar las gracias a todos por estar aquí con nosotros y darles la información que les vamos a brindar. Thank you very much. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Trustee Flores. I will now pass it on to Carl Crawley with Master Plan, who is managing the projects. Carl will take over from here. Carl?
Thank you, Priscilla and Trustee Flores. My name is, as Priscilla mentioned, my name is Carl Crawley. I'm Executive Director at Master Plan. We're the zoning and land use consulting company for the district in this zoning case. And it is a zoning case for this edition. We will have 2 hearings eventually. They have not been established on the date and time. We're hoping for our hearing in November, but likely December, and then at the City Plan Commission, and then at the City Council. For people who live within a few hundred feet of the school, you'll be receiving a notice on each of those, and you may have received the postcard for tonight's meeting. Otherwise, we have the architects here with us tonight. And I'll introduce Farah with Auto Arch, and she's going to go through the addition, and then I'll come back to me and I can talk about the traffic management. So, thank you again for attending.
All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. Does everyone see it?
Yes.
All right. So my name is Farah Sabuni. I am a principal and a planner at AutoArc Architects, and I'm joined here with 2 of my colleagues and the co-founders of AutoArc, Lena and Michael. So just quickly to go into the project, this is the existing site plan. So this is the aerial map essentially of what the current conditions are at Withers Elementary currently. You can see the school right there with the temporary buildings that are in the field. And so this is the proposed site plan. So you have, just to orient everyone, we have North Haven on the south, and then on the right-hand side, you have Wonderland Trail. And what we'll be doing is doing a 10 classroom addition that is also going to be serving as a storm shelter for the school. We are going to be doing detention, And then we're going to be doing an expansion of the cafeteria, an addition of the kitchen here, and then also some work in the vestibule area here. And the thing to note is that we will be affecting a little bit of the transportation. We're going to have a car drop-off entrance here as part of the addition. And then we are going to have a bus drop entrance here at the front of the main entrance. And so here we'll be having a separate car drop from the bus drop. And so just so you can see that in a 3D view, this is an exterior rendering. You've got North Haven to the left, and on the right-hand side, you have Wonderland Trail. And you can see the 10 classroom addition on the right-hand side. You can see where that car drop is, and then in red is where the shelter is. And then you've got the main entrance, which is going to serve as the bus drop on the front off of North Haven. You've got the kitchen addition that's also highlighted in the back, so you have a sense of where everything is. And a different perspective is also labeled here with the same thing. I'll start from the left this time. You've got the kitchen addition, the main entrance that's going to serve as the bus drop, and then you've got the 10 classroom addition here that's going to have the car drop. And so the main elevation is getting a little bit updated as we do work on the vestibule. So this is going to be the entrance of the, this is an elevation of the main entrance. And this is what that looks like as a rendering. You're going to have a secure vestibule. It's going to be accessible, and we're updating a little bit the style to make it a little bit more modern and inviting. And then as we move to the classroom addition, this is the east entrance, and it's going to serve as the car drop. So here we have an exterior rendering. You've got, again, it's a 10 classroom addition that also serves as a tornado shelter for the entire school. And then I will bring it back to Carl for the traffic management plan.
Okay, so the addition and the most of the traffic will remain in place. But what we have done is we've separated the bus traffic to the North Haven entrance. And then we have added this car drop-off lane off of Wonderland, and that allows us to queue some of the cars off of the street. It doesn't mean that all the cars will be on site, but the idea is to keep some of the cars off the street. Parents will enter from Alta Vista, turn on to Wonderland, and then they'll exit to North Haven. There'll still be a bus zone a school zone on North Haven. We're also looking at a school zone on Wonderland. We don't control where school zones go, the city does, but we're working with them to see if we can get a school zone on that portion also, if it's warranted. So that's the main change to the traffic management plan, is this new sort of drop-off area and the new entry off the new addition.
Thank you, Carl. Is that it?
Yes.
All right. All right. And then just to tie everything up on our end in terms of the time schedule. So we are looking to go into permit during the winter of this year, and then hoping to start construction summer of 2023 with the open date in spring of 2025. So with that, I will turn it back
To Priscilla.
2025.
Awesome, wonderful. Are we at the question and answer part already?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So right now we are opening up the floor. If anybody has any questions, if you would please raise your hand, or if you prefer, you can also comment in the chat. Okay, we have Ms. Stannard raising her hand, CPC Stannard.
I know, I'm always asking questions, huh? Two questions. Carl, on the traffic thing, how do you plan to keep cars from that bus zone driving up to the vestibule and letting their child off?
Well, that's that. I think I've told y'all before at some of our hearings. In paper, this always works, but then you put people into it. Obviously, that's an enforcement issue, and the fortunate thing is, if we're only allowing the buses to pick up and drop off there, the principal and her staff has some control over that by knowing which children take the bus, and those are the only children allowed to be out there. And then obviously, if they let some people out on the other side, they let those out to the parents as they drive up. Obviously, some kids are walkers, as we call them, because they walk home. but the principal and her assistants know who those people are, and those are the people who are allowed to walk home. So they have the control over the students in that sense, that if you take the bus, you go out this way. If you walk, we know who you are, you leave. If you don't, you're queuing over here, and your person who's picking you up has to pick you up here. They're not going to pick you up down the street because you're not walking home. So they fortunately have control over that. And usually it's pretty successful, especially if we could divide the bus away from the car, because then they know the bus people go out a certain exit, and then the car people go out a different exit. So I think that can be controlled that way. And I
Okay.
guess the principal, she had taken her mute off, and she's the one she's the traffic cop in this scenario, so she's the one who has the input.
Yeah, so the current design that the new addition will have mirrors what we currently do. So it will not have an impact on traffic around the school. So it pretty much is mirroring how we do it anyway right now. There'll be no big changes.
It's just we have
Oh,
now we have a drop-off lane to keep some of those cars off the street, and a little more controlled access for you guys.
Right. No, that was good. I like that drop-off lane. The other question is, did you always have the detention area? How did you recognize that you needed a detention area for water?
Well, likelihood is that when this school was built, detention was just where you kids went, not where water went. But now with the new requirements, the detention area is going to be required. It's usually established by grade, contour, things of that nature. So that's the reason for the detention. Any new addition now brings us into, for storm sewer, storm drainage, to require that detention if there's enough additional coverage. And this would require that, I'm sure. The detention will have, if it's deep enough, it will have a fence around it to keep children out of it. And then the city obviously has the final design control on that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I was sure you were going to put a fence around it, but I was just curious if there'd been flooding issues at Withers School in the past.
I'm not aware of any, and like I say, even if there's not any, the city now requires detention for us to hold the water. Yeah.
You know, that we have our civil engineer is in contact with the city, and he is providing exactly what's required to get the permit, and the entire detention is fenced completely. There is no access, nobody can have access. We have just maintenance access through a door.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I believe, do we have any other questions at this time? Please feel free to ask questions by raising your hand, and then of course unmuting yourself, or if you feel more comfortable, you can also place it in the chat. You can also write questions in Spanish in the chat as well. We want everybody to feel comfortable and participate in the language that they feel most comfortable in. Okay, I believe we have I see another raised hand. Let's see. Or was that Miss? Okay, we have a couple of raised hands. Mr. or Chris Singley, would you like to speak?
I would. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
My question is actually about the parking spots that I see in the carpool drop-off lane. If we are having visitors enter through the main entrance closest to the office through the security door, I'm just trying to figure out what the purpose of anybody parking there would be, because it would be congestion if people were trying to do it in the morning, and you really can't access the school from anywhere over on that side of the building in theory. So does that create more maybe heartache, unintended, if we're trying to kind of push everybody to the main entrance for security purposes?
Well, staff can obviously enter from that area, and that would actually likely be staff parking. And then if when school's out, there's a playground there, and they could then park there also. So it serves a little of both those purposes.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Chris, I can kind of answer that. So we'll shift some of the staff parking to that end of the building. the teachers that are in that particular wing will be able to utilize that parking. So that way, once that building is shut off, because once the students enter, the secure entrance will be through the vestibule, through the front of school. So we can open up the current parking lot for visitors to utilize so that they know to enter through the vestibule. Because once carpool is completed in the morning, then that will become a locked entrance and no one will gain entrance like our other, like we currently have.
Also,
that-
I would like to add that the permit with the city today, since the school was built very early, it's require more parking requirements. So for the permit, in order to pass, you need to demonstrate additional parking to accommodate the additional building that we are adding. So these parking, satisfy the requirement for the permit.
Got it. Thank you all. Makes sense and good for the teachers to be able to park closer to the school too. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a comment in the chat, but before we get to that, I saw that Mr. Nicholas Gregory had his raised. Mr. Gregory, would you like to
Yeah.
comment?
Yeah, thanks so much for the time and the presentation here. Question around kind of putting the cart before the horse, but once it's time for construction, especially for the younger kids, PK4, kindergarten, first grade, just protecting them from themselves, a lot of the construction, the debris, noise, distractions, things of that nature.
I'm sorry. Move your phone, everybody can hear you.
Did my question come in clear?
Yeah, so the question was about protecting the students during construction, basically, mostly towards the younger students. So
Yeah, we have a safety director, and we're going to separate the contractors from the student and staff population. They'll mostly be working nights and weekends after hours, but we make sure they put up barriers and they do not cross traffic with the students. Did that answer your question?
Yes, part of it was also just debris and noise and things like that during the school year. I'm assuming some of the construction will be done during the school year, not only held in the summer when school's out.
Yeah.
Can I talk a little bit? There will be a dust and sound barrier and separation barrier and all different type of barriers between construction and the operation area of the school. So we believe that will be a very safe environment will be created. Yes. Go ahead, Brent. Sorry.
Yeah, and again, the contractors, per the City of Dallas ordinance, they can only work between 7 and 7. And like I said, they all working nights and weekends, and to try to minimize any, debris or disruption to the learning environment and even to the neighborhood. We have our safety director, again, he makes tours, and my PM teams make tour to make sure the site is being kept clean as best we can.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. We also have in the chat, Ms. Green said, will all construction begin in the summer, or will some of the smaller upgrades be completed before then? And Chief Alfred said, at Rachel, all construction will begin in the summer. Ms. Green, did that answer your question? Okay. I see Ms. CPC Standards hand is up. Ms. Stannard, did you have another question?
Yes, I do. Just a quick one, but explain to me how the sheltering works in the new 10 classroom building. Because if there are classrooms around a hall, where is the shelter part if there were a tornado or something?
Your architect should respond to that.
Yeah, the shelter is completely sealed as walls and slab and a deck above it. So, and it will meet the safety code required by the city. Also, as we are designing this, we have a third party, the Dallas ISD, hired to be sure that everything is done correctly. So I'm saying that there is more than two eyes on this on the shelter to ensure the safety of it. So it is completely all the doors, all the windows, everything is done correctly, and we have, as I mentioned, third party on it to check the correct that everything designed correctly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions? If you would like to kindly raise your hand, or if you'd like to comment in the chat in English or in Spanish, in whichever language you feel most comfortable in, we're here to. Okay, we have Miss Ashley Romo. She says, how will the green space in the interior of our campus be accessible? Only through the existing stairway? Also, any changes to restrooms on campus?
Would you like me to answer that, or y'all have that, architect?
You know, I can have first shot on it, and then you can complete whatever I did miss. We discussed this point in the past, that it is safer for the school to have the interior courtyard to be a private for the school use only, so the kids can use it with and use that space without being exposed to any exterior or any stranger there. So it can be utilized through the corridors or the entrance of the school if the person who is going to enter that school is allowed to do that. But this is a complete control by the administration of the school to allow somebody to go to the interior space of the school.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, and then she also asked about the bathrooms.
Okay.
So, Ashley, there's, according to what I've been told, in the new wing, there will be a restroom for both boys and girls. And then there's also a staff bathroom that's being added. We requested 2. They're looking at spacing for that. So we will have additional adult restrooms plus a full bathroom for girls and boys for that wing.
Ms. Miller, are the current bathrooms getting a scrub too?
I know they're redoing all of our floors. I would have to check to see if that's part of it as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Principal Miller. There is another question in the chat. What is the plan to ensure the project stays on the timeline?
Well, we try to control what we can control. We put in so many weather days as a contingency each month to account for. We also put in like 10% float in the contractor schedule. So those are some of the best practices in project management, but there are some things that are outside our control, like market conditions and weather that we manage. But we'll update the principal once we get our contractor on site, and she'll continue to update the community, you know, if we're on target or if we're off target and how we can recover.
Thank you so much, Chief Alfred.
Also, I would like to add that, you know, we will be following up in weekly or bi-weekly meetings for the construction, and that's a typical things that we can do. So we will be watching very carefully about the schedule, and also we have this project under the supervision of AECOM. It's one of the best company and as a project management that can assist also in this effort.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions at this time? Okay, as of right now, we don't have any questions. I also want to recognize, we also have another chief joining us at the meeting, Chief John Delander. John, do you want to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you, Priscilla. Some of you on this call know me from being a former Withers parent and actually a former Withers student. I'm very excited about the new wing and very excited to see this project move forward. And Of course, we still have the wonderful Wendy Miller running the show at Withers. We're very fortunate. So it's an exciting project to see come to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief Delander. And I believe, let's see, Chris, do you have another question?
No, I was just
Oh.
clapping my hands in
Oh, okay.
celebration of Miss Miller.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, well, before we close out the meeting, I'd like to give the opportunity once again to our Principal Miller. Would you like to say some closing remarks, Principal Miller?
Yes, so I know that the construction is exciting, but it's also can be stressful. So just know that we will keep you, the community, in the know. We will give updates as possible, and we will have as little disruption to learning as possible. I've already had a couple meetings, and we've discussed, what classrooms, available space, etc. So we are in the communication process, and I will pass on all communication that I receive, so that you are in the know, and we can just make the most of this situation, because it's going to be exciting. We will have a new wing. We will no longer have the portables. We have the air condition that will finally be working efficiently. But I'm excited, and it's going to be it's a great thing.
Thank you, Principal Miller. Chief Alfred, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Like I said, it's an exciting process for us. We're wrapping up the design process and going into construction. So look forward to seeing you guys at ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings next year. Thank you.
And of course, we'd like to give the opportunity to our trustee, Edwin Flores. Trustee Flores.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining and participating on the zoning meeting, and we were able to answer other questions as well. AECOM has worked with the district. They're the project manager, and they do a fantastic job. And we'll make sure that the safety and security of our kiddos is paramount, as it is for everybody who's going to be on the construction side as well. And so just again, thank you to the taxpayers for paying for this, and for the voters for voting in favor of the 2020 bond. Thank you all for participating tonight.
Thank you. Thank you to the Withers community for participating in this beautiful community meeting. Wishing you all a safe and wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.